everyone, welcome to my channel. First off, I start by taking some micellar water to cleanse my client's skin. Then I spray some Fix Plus all over and prime with the MAC strobe cream because we are going to be using a full coverage mattifying foundation today. I make sure I have a hydrated moisturized base. Then I prime her eyes. You can use a concealer. I just use an eye base for this step, then pat the product in with my finger and make sure there is no added texture to the eyes. Then I took some Scotch tape and applied that to the outer corner of her eyes. This is just going to make sure that the eyeshadow and the liner stays crisp on the outer corner. This is also a great tip if you have trouble with getting a straight winged eyeliner. Then take a translucent powder or a lighter shadow just to set the concealer or eye base in place for the next shadow. Using a darker shadow, I take that from the outer to the inner lid. Use a fluffy crease brush for this step and keep blending until it's even and blend it out nicely. Now take a black gel liner or a dark base. I use the Harlot Smudge Pot and apply it to the lid with a brush. You don't have to be super neat with this step because we are going to blend it out. I keep this base pretty low as Jordan's eyes are hooded and we don't want that to transfer above the crease. Then I took a black eyeshadow and used a flat brush to apply over the dark base and blended that out with a crease brush. If you're happy with the way that looks, you can skip this step, but we were going for a shimmery smoky eye, so patting that all over the black with my finger and then going back in with the black eyeshadow, Corrupt, and a pencil brush. This one is a Jessup brush. And just creating a smoky wing effect, going back and forth along the lash line and tape. Then I use a black gel liner to tightline her upper lashes, then dragging that along her lash line where we created that wing with Corrupt. You can use a liquid eyeliner for this also. Then once you peel off the tape, wipe off the fallout from under the eyes with some makeup remover. We went for some more dramatic eyelashes today. These are the House of Lashes in this style Iconic. I applied those using the House of Lashes glue. These are super pretty and dramatic. I'll leave a link below so you can check them out if you're interested. Just took the peach shade from the light contour palette and used that under her eyes to correct any darkness and pat that out with a damp beauty blender. Then I used some of the LA Girl Green Pro Concealer just to correct any redness she had around her nose. Now for foundation, we wanted a full coverage base, so taking Estee Lauder Double Wear and I just applied that all over with a dense foundation brush. Then with my damp beauty blender, just blending that all in so it is seamless and that also gives you an even base. This is one of my favourite full coverage foundations along with MAC Studio Fix. Then I take Jordan's concealer and apply that under her eyes. This is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I also apply this on her forehead, down her nose and on her chin and a little bit around her mouth also. This is just going to brighten and highlight under her eyes and in the center of her face. Then, of course, blending that out with a damp beauty blender. So we did some cream contouring just to carve out the nose and make that appear slimmer. Jordan wanted a pretty dramatic contour, so I applied the darker shade all over where we wanted to carve out and make appear smaller. Then spraying some Fix Plus all over and blending out that contour with a small fluffy brush for the nose. You need to work pretty fast with cream contouring as it does set quite quickly, and I go in with a beauty blender just to blend out the rest of her contour. Then going in with the Face of Australia translucent powder to bake under her eyes to set her concealer in place. I bake the forehead, down the nose, on her chin also, everywhere you apply the concealer, and go in with a bronzer. I don't set the rest of Jordan's face as she has normal skin and doesn't really need it. Whereas if she had oily skin like myself, I would set the whole face using the Australis Fresh and Flawless powder or just a translucent powder to keep the foundation in place all day. Using a fluffy brush, just wiping away all of that excess powder, and go in with Hoola bronzer just to define the cheekbones a little more and darken the contour around the forehead and also along the jawline. Going back in with that translucent powder, I then use my damp beauty blender and define the contour a little more by baking just under where we applied the contour. Then going in with a blush, this one is Luminoso. I love this one, it is really pretty and it just gives extra glow to the face. And then I took Becca's Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop for the highlighter. I felt like the eyes needed a little bit more of a champagne colour in the inner corner, so I went in with the same highlighter and a smaller brush. Also took Champagne Pop down the nose on the cupid's bow and then used my fluffy brush to wipe off that bake under the contour. Then I use a gel liner and go in and tight line Jordan's lower lash line. I then go in with the camel shadow that we used before and smoke out the bottom lash line. Then I just apply some of the Corrupt eyeshadow, which is the black one, and smoke out that lower lash line even more. And then I took some Chi Chi glitter. I'm not sure of the shade of this one, but I applied that on the inner corner as well for an extra pop of glitter. For eyebrows, we used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow. This one was in soft brown. So I just started off with the outer corner of her eyebrows. Her eyebrows already were tattooed on, but we did go in and define them more and then used a concealer underneath to clean them up and make sure that they were on point. This is Mary Luminizer by The Balm. You can find this in Target and at David Jones if you're from Australia. Just used that to highlight under the brow and down the nose a little more, and then took a MAC lip liner in Subculture and lined Jordan's lips. Then I went in with MAC's lipstick in Naturally Transformed. This one is like a brown nude shade. Then I took MAC's Myth lipstick and applied that to the center of her lips with my finger. This is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!